What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here. Primer ready to deliver you our week 6 matchup in the PFL majors. We are here, back again once again. And this week we are taking on Jeremy and his LA Lapras. Jeremy and the LA Lapras, yes we are. And his team is very, very scary. Very, very scary and very, very hard to prep for. Very, very hard to handle. His team consists of Landorus Therian, Toxapex, Rotom Heat, Cobalion, Ditto, Tangela, Mega Gyarados, Latias, Kyurem, Dusknoir, and Meloetta. So he did end up being the one who ended up picking up our Dusknoir in the long run of the trade we did a little bit ago. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, really, really tough team to prep for. He does have that Tangela, which is a very, very nasty wall to break through, as well as the Rotom Heat and Toxapex forming a disgusting Firewater Grass core. That really covers its weaknesses pretty well, I think. The dual dragons with Latias and Kyurem is going to be a big problem to deal with as well. Dusknoir, obviously, I know how good Dusknoir is, so I'm not too pleased to have to face it in battle. That's why I usually draft it, because it's a ghost type I don't like dealing with, especially because I don't have Stab Ghost anymore. I'm happy I don't have a Stab Ghost type anymore, but still, pretty glad that I don't have. I'm not too pleased I have to face Dusknoir. Meloetta can always be a threat because you never know what form he's bringing. It could be either or, and it would still do a lot of work. Cobalion obviously is a threat. If it sets up, it can just sweep my team without issues. Ditto is annoying because it makes me not want to bring setup, which is super scary. I know, that's wild. And then obviously Lando T. Everyone knows what Lando T does, and that is everything. Lando T literally does every fucking thing you can imagine. So I'm not too pleased to have to deal with it. His hazard removal is stellar, with the Lando T and Rotom H as defoggers, as well as Latias as a defogger. Just a solid team. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention he has Mega Gyarados, by the way. In case you couldn't tell, he has Mega Gyarados, so that's fun. Yeah, so not really looking forward to this matchup, but I think we can pull. I think we can probably pull this out. It's just going to be a really, really tough one for us, for sure. The first one we're bringing is Bam Bam or Darmanitan. Sheer Force, Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf Darmanitan just kind of made sense to me in this matchup. Looking at his team, I needed something that could break through the Tangela. I needed something that could potentially outspeed and break through the Cobalion, because I don't think he'll be bringing a Scarf Cobalion. I just don't think Scarf Cobalion just does really well against us. I have things that can easily switch into its stabs and handle it pretty easily. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention his Z users are Cobalion and Meloetta, both of which have very diverse move pools, so it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. Be even more interesting if I see him bring a Z, not like a Z, like a Z pirouette Meloetta. If he brings it, goes for Relic Song, and then goes for a Z move. That'd be really, really cool to see. I don't actually think I've ever seen a Z pirouette Meloetta. I think that'd be really, really cool. Actually, it's a really cool thing to potentially use for a future draft league. We'll keep that in mind, because I kind of want to draft Meloetta again. It's been a while. But, yeah, Bam Bam with the Darmanitan here. Flare Blitz, obviously, is going to be clicked 90% of the time. It just does so much damage to, a majority of things. If it doesn't heavily resist it, and it's not, really defensively invested, it's going to take a lot of damage. Even the Latias, which is a Dragon type and resisted, it's still going to take a big chunk of damage from that, but it's going to do a lot of damage to things. Ditto is not a good switch into this, because even Darmanitan itself takes a lot of damage from Flare Blitz, obviously. We have the Earthquake, because that's the only way that this Mon can really touch Toxapex, and he still doesn't really touch Toxapex that much. If he's Spadef, it'll do a lot more damage. It'll do 40 to 48%, but it's still not even a 2-hit KO, which maybe after Rocks, and if he's not Black Sludge, or if we can get rid of the Black Sludge somehow, that'd be great, but for the most part, it's going to be a bit of a struggle bus with this Mon, for sure. We have the Rock Slide. Rock Slide is there so we can actually hit the Rotom. If he doesn't bring Rotom, I'm not going to complain because then I don't have to click Rock Slide. But at least having the Rock Slide there gives us a way of hitting the Rotom on switch in if he does have it. And then U-Turn is just going to kind of be like another main move we click. It's just because we kind of need to keep the momentum and capitalize off of any switches he might make with this Mon. Because this Mon forces switches, so U-Turn will be able to keep us up with some momentum against him and keep us going real hard in the paint against his team. We kind of have to keep the momentum as much as we can throughout the matchup, so that's the plan here. Then we have layers, our Celebi, our nice little onion man with his layers. Bringing kind of a little bit more of an offensive set this week with Psychic, HP Ice, Stealth Rock, and U-Turn with the Expert Belt, Natural Cure. We're just bringing offensive because I feel like that will benefit us in the long run. Psychic is there because I need a stab move, and I also need something that can hit the Toxapex super effectively. And I think that will be very beneficial. Yes, this set is walled by Mega Gyarados. I'm hoping this set doesn't have to take on Mega Gyarados, or if like I don't see him like switching hard into Gyarados ever on a Celebi. I just think that's crazy. So like it can't take on Gyarados because he doesn't know that. So I'm hoping that works to my benefit. Obviously, I'm again EV to outspeed I believe a max speed Landorus Therian. That's the plan there. We have the HP Ice for that reason as well, so that we can hit that thing as hard as we can. We have Stealth Rocks because even though he does have really, really good defoggers, Stealth Rocks chipping down at things like the Toxapex on switch and keeping him like limiting his regenerator recovery and whatnot in a way with that, as well as being able to break down things like the Rotom Heat, the Gyarados before it Mega Evolves, the Kyurem, breaking down things like that would be really, really useful, and any chip damage on his team that we can get is essential. And then we also have U-Turn on this so that we can keep up more momentum against his team. That's going to be, again, a move that we click more often than not, unless I see a really solid opening to get rocks up. So that is our Celebi. Next up, we have Bolt Doggo, the Manectric, which I do have de-mega'd for the sake of the battle. We did already have the match, mind you, but I am not going to spoil anything in the team builder itself because I know better. I know how to go about this objectively without spoiling anything, so yeah. We have Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, HP Ice, and Overheat. We also had Lightning Rod set for when we were non-mega'd. Having the Lightning Rod gave us kind of a little bit more of a switch chance to the Rotom, or if any Electric-type moves were revealed on any of his other Mons, we could have potentially switched into those. Based upon his speed tiers, we were actually able to bring Modest Manectric this week, which is actually really, really cool. So we can hit that thing. We can hit his team a lot harder in this matchup, which is great. So 180 speed allows us to outspeed the Latias. And then EV-wise, I just kind of like went until we gave as much HP investment until we had like an odd number, and then just threw the 4 in defense, because why not? We Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, HP Ice, Overheat. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt are just standard. They're going to be 99% of the time. Volt Switch to help us keep momentum. Thunderbolt just to hit things as hard as we can. We are modest. It's stab. It's going to hurt a lot, even if it's like... It's going to hurt a lot on anything that doesn't resist it. If it's neutral, it's going to hurt a lot. If it's super effective, it's going to blow through things. Like, it's going to blow through Toxapex and Mega Gyarados really, really well. Being modest helps us wall break Toxapex decently. HP Ice is there for the Landorus, which is a really, really solid switch into this. This set is walled by Rotom Heat, but I'm hoping that due to me having Zygarde, due to Tapu Fini being one of my Mons, due to Darmanitan being there. Darmanitan doesn't scare it all that much, but I'm really hoping due to some of the other Mons on my team, I'm really hoping that it scares Rotom H away, specifically Zygarde, because I can OHKO it straight up with 1,000 arrows. Like, it does not matter. Like, 1,000 arrows would be really, really break him. So hopefully that works out in my favor. Zygarde actually has a really good match with this game. I actually kind of really wish I'd brought Zygarde. Oh well. We have Voltage Thunderbolt, HP Ice is for the Landers, and then we have Overheat. Overheat is kind of their pseudo for the Cobalion. It'll help us break the Cobalion really easily, blow through that thing, but it's more so there for the Tangela. Tangela can switch into this pretty well, but like an Overheat is not going to be appreciated, so it'll be really, really nice to just break through that mon with an Overheat and make it dead. That'd be great. So that is our Magmanectric. Next up we have Thanks Steve, the Celesteela. We are bringing in an Autotomize set once again because I feel like that's just, I feel like it's just a good set this week. We are running Autotomize, HP Ice. Why is this thing? I didn't set it to max all. That's upsetting. Doesn't really matter, but like I didn't set it to max all. That's upsetting. Just kind of annoying. Whatever. We bring in Rocky MZ though. Autotomize, HP Ice, Earthquake, and Stone Edge. Naive Nature because I don't want to lower either of my offensive stats. I just feel like I need both. I feel like with the 236 into attack, yeah. I was originally calculating with like Adamant or Jolly. I think I was originally calculating with Adamant Celesteela to try to see like how much I needed for Rocky MZ to Oko or break through the Rotom H properly. But I changed it to being naive so that I could actually outspeed a majority of his team. I don't remember what mon particularly I outsped at +2. I think it's just Scarf Kyurem or whatnot. I'm not 100% on that. I'm not 100% on that. I know I don't outspeed Scarf Latias. I don't think. I don't 100% know. Let me double check that. 351. It's just 350. 350 times 1.5 divided by 2. Yeah, we could not outspeed a Scarf Latias. So I think this is there to outspeed a Choice Scarfed. I think this is for Choice Scarf Kyurem, I want to say. Because I think this is the same spread we used last time to outspeed like a Scarf 95 or some shit like that. HP Ice is obviously there for the Landorus, just so we can break through that thing. And we have Earthquake and Stone Edge. Earthquake is there for things like the Cobalion and the Toxapex, so we can at least hit them super effectively. Then we have Stone Edge. Stone Edge is there so that we can break through the Rotom. We can Rocky MZ the Rotom and whatnot. And we just have like a Rocky MZ really hard nuke to hit on something at some point in the matchup. If we can get a Beast Boost, that'd be even better. Because then Celesteela can just mow through a lot of his team. Plus the speed investment will be really nice. Because it allows speed, like prior to an Autotomize, we could outspeed things like Bulky Lando, Bulky Kyurem, Bulky just about anything. Like if he runs a Bulky set on something, barring the Latias and Cobalion, like if he runs bulky versions of anything else, like we outspeed it. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, that's our Celesteela set. Hopefully it can do some work. Next up we have Fabric Softener, the Beware making his debut right off the bat. Salt Vest with the Fluffy ability. 248 HP, 44 with the Impish Nature, 4 into Speed, and then the rest going into his attack stat. The 248 with the 44 in Defense, I believe that allows us to take close combat from Cobalion pretty nicely, like pretty handily. I actually think it's not even a 2 KO because Fluffy does weaken those contact moves, so it's really, really solid. We eat the hit from that without any real issues. Ice Punch, Return, Hammer Arm, Shadow Claw. Ice Punch is obviously for the Landorus, so we can hit the thing as hard as possible. Return and Hammer Arm are just for dual stabs. Return just to hit things as hard as possible. Hammer Arm to break through things like the Mega Gyarados, break through the Kyurem, break through the Meloetta, stuff like that. And then we have Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw is here specifically just so that we can't be walled by the Dusknoir. That's literally like the only reason. So I think that kind of explains itself pretty nicely. But that's it for that set. Now Normally I would bring a very different Finny set, but I kind of wanted to see if this would work out. We're bringing a Choice Scarfed Tapu Fini with Scald, Taunt, Moonblast, and Trick. Very, very defensive. Very, very defensive build. We are EV to outspeed, I believe, min speed Landorus with this. I think that's what we went for. So that's a cool thing. Basically, the goal here is to try to trick this Scarf onto Toxapex. If we can trick a Scarf onto Pex, or even onto Tangela, then we've officially crippled those Mons entirely for the rest of the game, and that is nice. That is what we want, because realistically, those Mons are going to be massive threats anyway. They are going to be a problem for our team, and I'm not looking forward to it whatsoever. It is going to be a absolutely massive thing to deal with, so I'm really hoping that I'm really, really pleased to I'd be really, really pleased if I can get the trick off. If I can't, that'd be really unfortunate. But then we just have the Scald and Moonblast dual stab to hit the majority of his team with, and then Taunt. Taunt is a good way to just kind of shut down Toxapex. So once we get rid of our Scarf, obviously, we can just go. We can taunt the Toxapex. We can taunt things like the Tangela, taunt things like the Dusknoir, taunt the Meloetta if we get the opportunity to taunt the Landorus so he can't set up rocks on us or whatever. We outspeed the min speeds of pretty much everything else on his team, so we can actually like really get off taunts and do a lot of annoying things to his team, which could be really, really awesome. And I'm really, really hoping we get to do. So that is kind of the plan with that. So, yeah, that's the plan, and with that, we are going to hop into the battle, so hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, we are here for our Week 6 matchup against Jeremy and his LA Landorus. I believe that is his team name. Yeah, LA Landorus, or LA Lapras. That is what it is. He decides to bring the Meloetta, the Landorus, the Dusknoir, the Toxapex, the Mega Gyarados, and the Latias. So let us hop into the game. He's going to lead with his Toxapex, as I do lead with my Beware. I'm going to switch out now into my very special Tapu Fini set. You saw the team builder, so you know what this thing's meant to do. So I'm going to go for the trick right away. He's actually going to switch into his Dusknoir, and we're going to trick. And what's crazy is he gets my Choice Scarf, but I get a Choice Band. So he was a banded offensive Dusknoir. Very, very interesting. Nice to see Dusknoir facing us in the facing off against us again. So we're actually gonna we're gonna bounce out into our Beware, as he's actually gonna bounce out into his Meloetta, and we're gonna switch now into our Celesteela to try to catch him off guard. We're gonna go for a Stone Edge first, trying to maybe pick off the incoming Gyarados or Landorus, get some more damage on that. We're gonna go for the Earthquake then, as he's gonna set up a second layer of Toxic Spikes, which is going to be a massive problem for us. We go for an Earthquake again as the Landorus comes in. Now we're going to go for the HP Ice, and we see that he eats his Yachi Berry. So he is, based upon that damage, we see that he's definitely max HP. So, kudos, very smart on him to bring a bulky Landorus. He did say after the match that he was really fearing Zygarde, so that's why he brought a very bulky Landorus set and a bunch of really bulky sets on his Mons. You'll see later another example of that. But he's going to go now into his Gyarados, and we are actually going to snag a crit on this Stone Edge, which is really, really huge. Now we can just go out into our Tapu Fini, who is going to get poisoned. Unfortunately, the Misty Terrain does not pop before the poison. That's really unfortunate, but we're going to take that Waterfall, and he's actually just going to sack his Gyarados. What's crazy is his Gyarados had no investment in speed. He had to have no investment or very, very little investment in speed. So he was a very bulky Mega Gyarados set to try to potentially take on my Zygarde and whatnot, which is really, really cool. I do love that idea. That was a really, really smart idea on his part. But Moonblast, we're going to outspeed, and we're going to be able to take him out with a nice Choice Banded Moonblast from our Tapu Fini, and down goes that Gyarados. So now he's going to go out into his Meloetta and miss the Charge Beam as I do go for the Moonblast here. The way he's been playing it, he's definitely bluffing a Scarf at this point, or he's trying to bluff it. I'm actually going to go out into my Manectric because he's going to double out into Toxapex. He's going to play around me a little bit here. I'm going to go straight for a Thunderbolt, trying to catch that Pex. Now I'm going to go for the HP Ice as he's actually going to bring in his Dusknoir, which I do know is in fact Choice Scarfed. So, but I do outspeed it still, obviously, so I'm going to Volt Switch out on it and kind of just sack my Tapu Fini. I'm really bummed I didn't get to trick this band off onto anything else, but it just didn't seem like an option that was very viable for me, unfortunately. But let's go over those last couple plays. I'm going to just go into my Mega Manectric though now, and I'm going to be able to take out that Dusknoir. I'm going to Volt Switch out now on this Latias, go into my Celebi. Nice layers, and he's going to set up a Calm Mind, and I'm like, oh no, this is fucking scary. So he's going to go for a Draco Meteor and make that misplay there. He does call that out as a misplay, lowering his special attack and putting himself in a real bad spot. He's going to now go out into his Toxapex, so I'm just going to U-turn out with Bam Bam. And now go into my Mega Manectric once again. So we're going to go for a Thunderbolt, and we see that we do a massive amount of damage to this thing. He's going to fire off the Skull on this, not pick up the burn. If he picked up the burn, that actually would have been better for us in the long run. But we're just going to go for another Thunderbolt, and he's going to go into his Meloetta. Now that right here, that Volt Switch, was a misplay. Thunderbolt actually had a chance to kill if he was the set that I think he was. Based upon the rolls I was getting, Thunderbolt definitely had a chance to kill him here. So not going for that was a misplay. Volt Switch, in hindsight, that was definitely a misplay. Thunderbolt was easily the best play here, but I'm going to go for it. We do see he goes for a Z Heal Bell here, so he's going to fully heal himself with that Z Heal Bell, which is really, really annoying to deal with. But he's going to actually go hard into Toxapex right now as I'm actually going to set up my Stealth Rocks. And now I'm going to go for the Psychic as he's going to go into his Landorus. Doing massive damage to this Landorus, but I'm going to be forced to let my Celebi go down. I'm going to go into my Celesteela and go for my HP Ice now. Easily, it's in range now to die, so I'm going to get my attack boost from this. And now we're going to have the kind of Roost game going on here. He's actually going to Roost as I go for the Continental Crush. The Z move that I brought for the Rotom Heat. He's going to be going for Roosts here, and I'm essentially just begging for a crit. A crit would be perfect. As I'm actually going to get my Autotomize up now, which is really cool. So we're going to go for the Stone Edge crits here. We essentially have to. We have nothing else we can do. I'm just begging to get a crit on this one, and we do not get the crit, but we leave the Latias down at a really low amount of HP, which is really, really nice for us. So now we can go back out into Mega Manectric, and right here getting that Toxic on us is why I wish that the Toxapex had burned us earlier. Because this Toxic is going to be what ends this game for us, period. This Toxic beats us. 100%. And you'll see why in a little bit. He's going to go now out into his Meloetta and take the rocks as the Thunderbolt is going to do a massive amount of damage to him. And now I am going to just Volt Switch out on this Meloetta and go into my Beware. I kind of have to just sack Beware at this point. He's going to go for the Psychic on my Beware and knock me down a little bit. And he's going to go for that Charge Beam, which is alright. Now we're going to go into our Bam Bam, the Darmanitan, and U-turn out on this Meloetta, knocking it out. And then going out into our Bolt Doggo, the Mega Manectric. We wouldn't have taken nearly as much damage up to this point if we weren't toxic, which is very unfortunate. So now we're going to drop to that poison there, and essentially we can't break this physically defensive Toxapex with our Darmanitan. We cannot break through it at all, unfortunately, and he is going to be able to Toxic Stall down our Darmanitan. Picking his Toxapex up 3 kills in this game nice 3 passive kills with those toxic spikes. And yeah, that's the game. If I had brought a normal Tapu Fini set, like I thought about doing at one point, if I brought a normal Tapu Fini set, I would have definitely won the matchup, because I would have easily been able to get a defog off at some point. I could have gotten a defog off at some point, and basically nullified what ended up being the thing that he like focused most on in the matchup. Like, his main focus was getting the hazards up, but if I had been able to defog those away, this game would have been mine, because I would have not had to deal with that toxic on Manectric, and Manectric could have been able to clean up the game very, very easily. But unfortunately, that is not how it played out. We are going to lose here. I believe this drops us to 3-3. So nice 50-50 record. Next week we actually take on Scott once again in a rematch from, I believe, week 1. So going to be very, very interesting to see how this rematch is going to go. I'm really excited for it. I love battling against Scott. He's a fantastic battler, so it's going to be one hell of a matchup. And hopefully it'll swing in our favor. Until next time, though, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I have been PokePrimer, and I am signing off. Peace.